Well, this next chapter is all about working with objects. So the objects we were creating in the previous chapter, now it's time to manipulate those objects. So in this chapter, we'll be doing things like showing you ways to select various objects on your page, moving and sizing them, deleting them, modifying their appearance, arranging objects so they line up nicely on your page, working with multiple objects and stacking orders, converting them, locking them. Lots to do in this chapter, and we're going to start in this lesson by examining a few selection techniques. Obviously, if you want to make changes to an object, you need to select it first. And there's a few techniques that will come in handy when working with objects, especially multiple objects on a page. So I've opened up a file here. It's called Green Onion File 1. It's a CDR file. If you've got the exercise files, you'll find this in the Lesson 4 folder if you'd like to follow along. You can open this one up. So here we are on page 1, which is our window sign. You can see the Green Onion Bistro up at the top has the logo. This is a fairly large page. It goes from 0 to 24 inches across, and it's 36 inches tall. This is going to go in the window of the bistro, and it displays our daily specials. Notice all the different types of objects we have here. We've got the logo and the text below it. We've got this beige rectangle, which is on a background of a green rectangle. We've got a couple of images down here. We've got peas in the pod and looks like a nice cool glass of water with lemon wedges. Beautiful. And now it's time to make some changes, modify our window sign here, and to do that we'll need to be able to select certain objects. So the easiest way to select an object, we've been doing it in previous lessons, is to make sure the pick tool is selected and just click on the object you want to modify. Let's say I wanted to change this beige background to a different color. Well, I click anywhere on the beige background. Handles appear around the outside. Tells me it's selected, but even more important is what appears down below in the status bar, curve on layer 1. So that's one object selected. It's called a curve. It was converted to curve, so it's one of those objects I could manipulate, its shape and its size, for example. We'll do some of that later on. But now I know it's selected and I can start doing things like changing the background. Let's go to a nice, maybe orangey color. Well, that doesn't work, so I'm going to click Undo right up here on the toolbar. Click the Undo button or Control-Z on your keyboard if you like using the keyboard to set it back. So maybe that's the best color for our rectangle. So that's selecting one object. If I come down to the peas in the pod and click, that image is selected. You can see down below it's actually a JPEG. And notice that the other selection, my beige rectangle, is no longer selected. If I click on the glass of water, well, now it's selected. Water in Bistro sign. It's a GIF file. I get that information down below here. And if I wanted to select both of these images and maybe do something special with them, like add an effect, I need to be able to select multiple objects. So here, I might just hold down my Shift key with one object already selected. Holding down Shift allows me to select another object and keep the previous selection. Now down below, it's telling me I've got two objects selected. This is very important down here because if I look at the handles, it looks like maybe Salad Bar Buffet is included in that selection, but it's not. It's just the two objects on layer 1. Don't worry about layers right now. We're going to get into layers later on. Great way to stay organized, but we can select multiple objects on different layers as well. All right, what if I wanted to select my logo and the text underneath it? I could click on the logo, hold down my Shift key, click on the text below it. I've got two objects selected. That's one method. I'm going to press F4 on my keyboard just to zoom in a little bit further. Another method would be to marquee select the objects that I want to select, multiple objects. So in this case, I'm going to click outside my page to deselect anything. I'm going to start up here off the page, and I'm going to click and drag with my pick tool. And you can see how it's drawing a little marquee. And when I let go, once I've surrounded totally the Green Onion logo and the text below it, it's not partially covered, it's actually fully included inside the marquee. When I let go, you can see I've actually selected three objects. The three objects are the logo, the text, and this little fade effect you see in the background. So by using a marquee select, I get one of those objects I didn't even know was back there. And then I could start doing things with this group of objects if I needed to. What about all of the text? Well, maybe I wanted to change vegetarian lasagna, the chili, the eggplant parmesan, and the salad bar buffet to a different color. Well, in that case, my marquee select probably won't work. That's because I've got these dollar amounts in between. So I'm going to press Shift F4 to zoom back out a little bit so I can see the entire page. And let's say I started down here and clicked and drag up. And you can see if I wanted to get all of that text that's in there, I have to encompass all of these dollar signs as well. So the dollar amounts I don't want to make changes to, just the actual text. So here's a little trick for you. Holding down your Alt key means you don't have to fully encompass an object. All you have to do is touch it with your marquee. So I'm going to hold down my Alt key, I'm going to click and drag, and you can see I'm just touching a little bit of the text portions of the daily specials. And when I let go of my mouse button first, you can see what gets selected here. Well, I get all of my text and my background, because I did touch my background and I did touch this beige rectangle as well. So I've got 6 objects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now if I want to deselect certain items without deselecting everything, I can hold down my Shift key. I'm going to just click on the background. It's no longer selected. See how I'm down to 5 objects? I'm going to hold down Shift and click on the beige rectangle. And now I'm down to just those 4 objects that I wanted selected. And now I could change maybe the text color to something darker. I'm going to come over here to my green. I'm going to hold it down with my mouse button, displays the extended color palette, and go to a darker green here in the middle on the far right. And you can see that makes it just a little bit easier to read. So that's a little selection technique as well. If you want to select everything, no problem, just double click your pick tool. Double-clicking the pick tool selects everything that's on the page, and down below you can see that means 16 objects across multiple layers. All right, deselecting is as easy as clicking outside the selected items. Another way to select is to go to your Edit menu. If we go up to Edit, you'll see that we've got a Select All option. And Select All what is what appears over here in the flyout menu. Objects, text, or guidelines. Now we do have guidelines that are kind of showing us the borders of our page. If I click on guidelines, you can see they turn red. All 4 of them have turned red. So now with those selected, if I didn't need them anymore, for example, I could hit my Delete key. Hitting my Delete key removes them, so I don't have to see them anymore. Maybe I'm done with this page and no longer need them. This gives me a better view of my finished work. Let's go back up to the Edit menu. Come down to Select All. Maybe I just want to select text objects. Come down to Text, and only objects that contain text are selected. So you can see them down here. That includes the dollar amounts, the descriptions. It also includes up here underneath my green onion logo, any text objects. Let's go up to Edit, down to Select All, and over to Objects. This selects all objects. Very similar to double-clicking the Pick tool. I prefer a double click on the pick tool rather than clicking a menu down to a submenu and making my selection from there. But whatever your preference, whatever you're used to, get comfortable in that method and keep it. So those are some selection techniques. Now obviously we're going to use those techniques to modify our objects. One way to modify an object is to simply delete it. Maybe we don't want the P's down here. Well, just clicking on an object, the easiest way to delete is to hit your Delete key on the keyboard. Gone. That's my preference. I'm going to undo that, Control Z, or click your undo button to bring it back. Another method with a selected object is to right click, and you'll find delete up here as well. There's the keyboard shortcut, your Delete key. Clicking that deletes the object. Control Z to bring it back. One last way is to go up to your Edit menu, and you'll see delete down here as well. So lots of different ways to delete objects. I don't really want to delete the peas in the pod. I'm going to deselect by clicking outside my selected object, and there's my finished product. So you should be feeling pretty comfortable now with selecting objects, whether it's 1 or 2 or more objects. Various different ways to select objects. You'll find a method that suits your needs best and probably stick to that method, but you should be familiar with all of the different ways to make selections. Now it's time to use those techniques to make changes to our objects, and in the next lesson we're going to start by looking at ways to move and size your objects.